Hello, welcome back to Dragon Quest IV, Chapters of the Chosen. Last time, we traversed this old continent one more time and got the magic key, which means we can now go fight the Marquis de Léon. We will get completely fucking wrecked if we do that, so we're not going to. I will go into detail on why that boss fight is so fucking mean when we get to it next episode, but this time, this is all just grinding and I'm sorry.
I mean, the thing I'm thinking is like, if not for the fact that every clue we have points to going over there because Ragnar's there, I would have assumed that we were fighting him like way later in the game. Like, we only fought him at the end of the last chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, this is less like, you know, set up for a recurring or super important villain, and more like a Dragon Ball arc where Goku loses once, and then comes back and kills him the second episode. Like, this is not a Frieza or a Cell, this is a Mercenary Tao.
Yeah, we can't let this be a Tien situation because we can't die at the same time as the boss. First off, that's not physically possible from the mechanics of the game as far as I can tell. But also, even if it were, we'd lose.
I think there are some exploding techniques, but we don't have those and the boss doesn't use those. Anyways, I came to this island specifically because there are enemies here that are tougher than on the continent, and they give more experience points, but we can still take them on. And the Rhinothrope has been defeated.
That's the first time we've seen that guy. These guys are recolors. Also, Cheater Cheetah's very good.
You may have noticed that our spell casting capacity was completely shut down by these guys earlier, which is why Boria is here so long. And because we're kind of punching above our weight class, I'm not leaving this up to the AI just yet. I want to make sure that we're doing things that make sense.
You will mess up.
Probably could have gotten away with just leaving Nina on healing, but I wanted to use the tarot cards more often.
Yeah, they are neat and unique to her.
I think she's the only one that can use them as a weapon, but I think anyone can use them as an item. But why would you do that? She's the fortune teller.
Alright, so I'm gonna attack this enemy with death. Oh no! No, that doesn't mean literal death. Fucking amateur.
Anyways, Kirill just learned Fizzle. We're gonna keep an eye on Kirill. He's the guy that we want to level up. We're not really concerned so much about our output. We are concerned a little bit. I'll explain that next episode. We're mainly trying to get Kirill to get a spell that will make the next fight survivable at all. Anyways, I forgot to swap characters out, so let's just get Maya and Boria out for full attack capacity.
Alright, we're
then
just...
I had Boria do a normal attack because I realized, oh wait, Chilanodon probably is strong against ice.
Alright, Boria,
Still
punch.
came in clutch.
You're not very good at this, but you need EXP, I guess. You're not gonna be like the guy, I guess, but still. Kirill's gonna be the guy.
He still has his bow. Anyways, this also gives me a chance to show off one of Torneko's utility spells, Whistle. This makes grinding so much easier. And so much quicker, because you're not relying on the RNG at all.
Don't even have to walk around randomly. You can just sit there, and Torneko whistles, and everybody goes, Is that fucking Torneko Taloon? Get his ass! Kill him! God, seize him!
Anyways, Maya was fizzled and put to sleep, so we're just gonna give her a rest. We'll get some more use out of her tarot cards.
Man, I don't know how that old man lives on these islands with all these guys around.
Oh, this is a different island.
Okay.
I swear these tarot cards are capable of doing anything.
Now, question, is the enemy selection the same near the old man, or is this the only island with these guys?
It's probably the same, but that island's actually so small you can barely walk on it enough to trigger a random encounter. Which is why by buying just went like, oh, you can't get into fights on that island. You probably can, I just never have, because I have to have really bad luck for it. Chilanodons actually aren't that powerful.
Which is wild because they look kind of strong, though. Admittedly, yeah, I'd also prioritize the Rhino of the Axe. That seems like a good idea.
Okay, so you were saying earlier about what death does and doesn't represent.
Okay, so it's the classic assuming death means actual death.
Well, it represents a great change. And
The change is going from living to being
alive.
dead. Look,
Yeah.
that's just what happens when you pull death and then the tower. It's like, death's not too bad. Fuck, tower, god damn it. It's always gotta be this bitch. I am always, like, slightly... not annoyed, but I'm just like, come on, really? When I see shows where the characters are acting like death means death. Like, come on, even I knew this.
Anyways, remember what I said about the Chilanodons not being a threat? They have relatively low HP, but they are severely not fucking around. They can do a lot of damage really quickly because they have breath attacks. Breath attacks are the worst thing in this game.
Oh yeah, we've seen that, because somebody had a thing that didn't count as magic because it was breathing, right?
Right. There are fire and ice breath attacks. I think they are 3 levels. There's definitely at least 2. The first one is nothing, a cool breath, like see these numbers. This is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But it is a party attack.
But then I think they can do a chilly breath, which did like 30 to 40 damage. Oh yeah, see this?
Oh, well. Bye, Elena.
And this isn't even as bad as it gets. Eventually we'll find enemies that will breathe cold breath, and that does like 60 damage.
Yeah, I remember
Like, it's
that Ricky move. Yeah. For freeze.
Like, I don't think it's a flat number because it's doing different amounts of damage to each party member. But it's really fucking strong. To the point where we get a spell that is just reduces damage from ice and fire breath attacks, and that spell is super important, and you want to have it on you at all times. Also, I forget what the fire breaths are called, but it's the same thing. 3 levels. One that's nothing, one that's regular, and then one that'll fucking kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we gotta go revive Elena. I'm doing this instead of just cutting it out entirely because I like the implication that the characters are just running this fast whenever someone dies.
Got a double time.
Gotta get back to the church, oh my god! We're on a different island. But it is just this chain of islands that has these encounters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, if it was me, I'd just be paranoid that, like, if I go one island up from here, that's where all the tough enemies are. Just go slightly farther north. This is where all the endgame level motherfuckers hang out.
And we almost lost Elena again immediately.
Alright, so we're looking for a spell, but I'm gonna guess you'll probably need to rearm an armor after this. Because Elena's seeming like she could be a little bit better at not dying immediately.
Elena will get more resilience. She'll get more defense through leveling up. But this will also get us more money. So we could probably benefit from going to check out the other stores again. Cool breath is fine.
It's a cool breath, but they say it gets colder.
Still cool breath. I have Mina casting Snooze because I don't want these guys attacking me at all. Because they just have a chance of just fucking their shit up. Way too much for what they should be able to do.
Don't. How about don't?
But Mina's pretty slow, so rarely is she gonna go before the enemy. Borio learned Acceleratal. That makes everyone faster.
Oh, nice.
It's not useless, but I don't think I use it a whole lot in this Let's Play.
Okay, so it's not quite Final Fantasy haste levels of useful then.
Right, there's no active time bonus. So you can't get extra turns by being fast enough. But, you know, it is, in general, just helpful to always go first.
Yeah. The one problem is, though, Boria has it, and I don't know how much spells overlap in this game. Like, some characters have gotten a few, but I think we've mostly overlapped with utility spells. Also, geez, Elena. So I think I've seen Zoom and Evac on multiple people.
Yes, multiple people are in Zoom and Evac, so if that character gets knocked out, you have other characters that can do it as emergency measures.
But yeah, they seem to be keeping elements to certain characters so far. Is that just the whole thing?
Yeah. When it comes to overlap, Boria and Maya both learn, like, Sap and, I think, Snooze? Like, multiple characters will learn moves like Sap, Fizzle, Snooze, but, like, Boria's the only one to learn ice spells. I think Sophia learns Sizz, but fire is primarily Maya's thing.
Yeah.
Sophia has a different element that she gets that nobody else gets.
That's interesting.
That being said, some utility spells are unique. Boreal learns Accelerator. I think he's the only one to get it.
Okay, so yeah, the one drawback is Boria has to be in the party, so you can't have a full cast people without Boria, and Boria seems okay, but also I feel like other characters seem preferable.
Generally speaking, the way these like 8 characters are set up, you can't really cut anyone out of the party entirely except maybe Torneko. And we're using Torneko right now, so I didn't do that this playthrough.
Yeah, because so far, Torneko is unique, but also he's extremely niche in weird ways. Otherwise, you've got Maya Boria, you got Mina Kirill, Ragnar's not here yet, but he and Elena are the physical characters. So everybody's kind of got an equivalent, but because they're spread out, they definitely seem like they have different uses.
Yeah, it is an interesting situation, because like you lined up all of the pairs. but that leaves Sophia and Torneko, and the pair they have is as jack of all trades. In that Sophia is pretty good at everything, and Torneko isn't good at anything.
Yeah, so far, our best use for him is his ability to summon more enemies.
He's also not the worst for metal slime farming because he technically has a higher crit rate because one of his random abilities, random actions, just does a crit. But it's not reliable enough to like put him in over Elena. But you want all of your physical attackers in there anyways. So anytime I encounter a metal slime on the overworld or a new place where I have all 8 characters, I will always just put in Sophia, Ragnar, Elena, and Torneko, and then just slam the attack button.
Do not bother with magic, it will not help you.
Yeah. One of the things I really like about Dragon Quest IV is the party composition. You are always like swapping characters out. My least favorite part of this game is when I have to go into a dungeon where I can't hot swap characters because the game becomes so much less interesting. Because I just have to pick a team and stick with it. It's more fun when I get to like go, oh, these guys have fire breath attacks. I better get in my guy that knows Insulatal that turns damage to those way down.
But yeah,
like,
instead
this guy has an instant kill move, so I'm going to bring Bori in to cast Acceleratal and get everybody going as fast as we can to take this guy down before he just instant kills us all.
Yeah, instead it's, alright, here's a dungeon where I can't change out. Gotta open up a guide now so I know what's in here.
Or just always take the same party, which I think I might accidentally ended up doing this Let's Play. Like, everybody has their niches, but I don't think there's a threat that Sophia, Ragnar, Kirill, and Maya can't handle.
It's also interesting that that's the party you bring up, because they do make it so that like they pair off the mage-type characters, with 2 of them being assistants to one character and the other 2 being sisters, so like, story-wise, I'd feel a compulsion to keep them together at all times. Like, what?
You have to abandon this.
I can't have
That's
a Boreal
why I
without a
can-
Kirill. They work so well together.
I guess minor spoilers for Suikoden 3. If you try that for the later like war battles in Suikoden 3, you will get fucked up. The game expects you to break up the like character squads that they put out throughout the story, and I didn't do that, and I floundered at that fight so fucking hard. And then I watched a newbie play it, and it was not difficult at all because he spread the characters out and made sure that everybody had like well-rounded units. And watching that, I was like, I can't believe I failed to pick up on what the game was trying to get me to do. I'm so disappointed in myself. I'm normally better about this.
Damn it, it was thematic difficulty.
I can't believe that they managed to convince you that cooperation among different groups is important through game mechanics and game mechanics alone.
Honestly, fair play, a lot of people have trouble doing that, so...
Yeah, my fucking... I just like putting groups together. I know my first playthrough I was in a similar boat, but just... having played this game multiple times, I just have my favorites now. And, like, Elena's fun. I love Elena as a character. Ragnar is just easier to keep alive and easier to use, provided you can afford to keep him equipped. And even though he's the most expensive character to keep equipped, he's still just one character. You should be able to keep one character fully equipped. And he benefits from it the most, so you should really just be starting with him.
Yeah. It's one of those situations where, nah, Elena's close to Myrmidon-type characters, I'd absolutely go with her. I just like fast, high-crit characters.
Really contemplating this one. Ultimately, I decided to stick with the party I got.
Also, I'm assuming since you specifically mentioned Kirill and only Kirill, the spell we're after only goes to him, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, Kirill gets the best healing move and the best stat move, so Mina kind of falls off. She does get a good utility, and I think she learns the strongest healing move. It's just you're not always in a position where you need one character healed a lot, because people like to hit you with multi-hit attacks. So being able to heal multiple characters is a more common thing you want going forward. And yeah, spoiler, Kirill gets that spell, and it's what makes him the better healer over Mina in general. I'm keeping these guys asleep so they can't put me to sleep.
Though, it's specific to this version, right? I forget if you've mentioned this in the LP or if it was just out of the LP, but you did mention that Kirill was kind of bad in the original, right? Because of the...
Yes, we haven't
command.
encountered... Yeah, we haven't encountered the spell that makes him terrible in the original. When he learns it, I will call attention to it because it's very funny.
Weirdly enough, it's called the spell that makes Kirill terrible.
Oh, you're level 14. No spells. I will say, one AI thing that I think only exists in this version, and this might not be real, this might be a my dad works in a Nintendo situation. Apparently Kirill has a bad habit of prioritizing healing for Elena over anyone else. Even in situations where he probably shouldn't be. I've not seen it happen to me, so I don't think it's real. But I do think it would be really funny.
That would be fun, yeah. It makes sense.
It is... Not only is she his crush, it is his job to keep her alive.
Yeah. That is kind of a cute detail. I kind of hope it does exist, even if that is, maybe not exactly the best for surviving certain situations.
Yeah. Another thing that I do think is real is that the NES AI had like a rudimentary learning aspect to it. Like if a character cast a fire spell and it didn't work on an enemy, that would like trip an event flag, and the character would know not to cast fire on the enemy anymore.
Okay.
I've not seen anything go into real detail on that, but I've heard people talk about the mechanics like specifically enough that I think it's real. One of the problems with it though is that it requires the fight to end before any of the event flags are tripped. So you just really quickly reach situations where like your party just can't deal with bosses at all. Because that you can't end that fight that would cause them to learn anything.
Oh, okay,
so you just
yeah.
keep making the same mistakes over and over again.
Okay, yeah, since it would be a specific thing rather than in general. Yeah, that would be kind of bad.
I don't know how they implemented it in the DS version. I try to use the AI stuff more often in this playthrough just because I get why people don't like using it. And I don't think it's super important for this game, but for the later Dragon Quest games, your toolkit gets so big that sometimes it's helpful to just have an AI character go, I can tell which spell is actually the best spell to use here.
It does also seem nice that, like, yeah, they know what to prioritize in healing most of the time. Like, again, maybe Kirill heals Elena a bit much, but, like, the way they can, like, wait to choose who to heal is actually a pretty good advantage. Like,
and I think
normally, I never really played Persona 3 like that, because I played the handheld version, so I don't really know how that version goes. I get why it's there, and I think it's neat, but I think sometimes gameplay mechanics kind of hinder that working out. And I prefer kind of just playing, third person rather than I am the leader and I'm giving commands, kind of, except they're still doing their own thing.
I think I mentioned this before, and I can't prove it. I've not, like, looked through the code. I don't know anyone who has. But I do think that AI-controlled characters have a better idea of when, like, status effect spells will actually work. Not just in the chance of, like, oh, they're immune, don't bother, but, like, they will hit on this turn because I can see the RNG. And I say this because I had one of my characters poisoned, I think it was the final boss in Dragon Quest VII, and it was doing, like, several thousand damage a turn. And I saw the character do that, like, poison, like, oh, I need to get you off of AI. But then it hit, and I was like, oh, okay. And then it started doing a shit ton of damage. I was like, oh, okay.
That's actually super cool. Like, going back to Persona 3, that one's infamous for, also a character kind of over-prioritizing a spell that basically never works. And so, yeah, when I think of that kind of system, I think of the potential flaws, but, like, that's actually cool that, like, you can't potentially just have the computer work against itself. See how the computer likes it when it just knows when things are going to happen exactly.
Like, if a character would only cast whack when they knew it would work, it would make certain characters less useless when under AI control.
Marin Karin does not, in fact, work on every single enemy.
I'm concerned. So far.
And thankfully, it seems like they only have the first 2 tiers of breath.
Yeah,
kind
it
of
would
mean.
be really fucking rude.
Here's an enemy with all 3 this early. Do not come to these islands, you will die immediately.
Anyways, viewer, did you notice the mistake that I just made? Or at least I think I just made.
I'm looking at the top screen. It seems like you're using Crackle. Did not notice exactly who you targeted. Oh no, that actually worked.
I targeted lethal armor. Okay, I forgot how much MP Whoosh cost. That used exactly all of Mita's MP.
Oh yeah, and Maya's dying, Squirtle, so...
She just learned Drain Magic. Not all enemies have MP, but if they do, you can keep Maya going. Anyways, no one died, but Maya needs to rest.
Dental plan, Maya needs healing. Also, that guy just straight doesn't sell you stuff, huh?
Yeah. Anyways, a high-speed armor shopping. Check out the items.
The Chosen are very fast at chores.
Oh god, I went to check how much experience points were left for each level, and then I fucking fast-forwarded through it. Whatever, that's kind of funny. Hope you were paying attention. Otherwise, you're not gonna know when every character's gonna level up next.
It is also nice that Torneko can just use Whistle even when he's not, like, directly in the party. And that it costs 0 MP. Which makes sense, it's not magic, he's just whistling.
So none of the Torneko spells cost MP, so they don't have to give him MP.
Mm-hmm. Nothing he does is magic, it's just pure skill.
Anyways, I do love the... Oh god, a rock bomb. So remember earlier in the episode I mentioned some enemies can explode?
Alright, so here's the bomb enemy of the game then. Kill it faster, kill it faster, kill it faster.
Yeah, they start asleep, they don't wake up for a few turns. When they do wake up, they will ruin everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it's a good thing you just returned to town then.
He also has a lot of HP. Anyways, I was going to say about the Rhino Thrope, I love that design so much because they just look like the Rhino guards from Disney's Robin Hood. It's probably just the case of, like, there's only so many ways to do a rhino on its hind legs. There's one Shalanodon, we're not worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
This just looks like a Baro Dojinshi waiting to happen.
Alright, clear out where we can't be having any of this in the LP. YouTube standards and all
Get demonetized. I don't know why I said demonetized.
Yeah, I don't even make any money from this. If you ever see advertisements, that's because someone's just like, hey, is that my song? And sometimes it is. Then advertisements happen because of that.
Also, YouTube does still need to pay for server space.
Mm-hmm.
They've just decided you don't deserve a cut.
Yeah, you can have 2 pennies from this, I guess. You know, I was gonna ask if they did anything in particular around Thropes, but I'm gonna guess it's just heavy damage.
They just have, you know, good stats.
Mm-hmm.
They're good stats anyway.
Nothing fancy, they're just large rhino men with axes, so, like, what are you gonna do about that?
I guess I can clarify on Kisnooze. I think it's come up because I think we've learned Kisnooze. Kisnooze does not hit groups, it still just it only hits one target, but it's more likely to put them to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So Snooze hits a group, but doesn't have the best chances. Kisnooze only hits one, but is almost guaranteed to make them fall asleep. Anyways, the Rhinothropes are more of a direct threat, but the armors are more irritating to fight because they work Snooze.
Mm-hmm. They can just put you to sleep.
But they've been dealt with. Sophia leveled up. Did she learn anything at 15?
Nope, just stats.
Well, Boria hit 15.
Beep.
Peep lets you see what's inside of a treasure chest.
Okay, so that's potentially useful for a mimic then.
Yes.
There's your mimic checker.
It probably
Boy.
has some other, like, very situational usefulness. Oh my god.
Oh, that seems bad. But yeah, now Borea can look down and go, Chain's facing the wrong direction, that guy's gonna kill us.
Kind of weird that Torneko didn't learn that.
Yeah, that's really surprising.
Feels more like something he would learn.
Yeah, it's treasure-based, and it's called Peep. You'd think it'd just be taking a look at something, but I guess you want to do that magically. On account of if it is a mimic, then Torneko checking just means he gets his hand chomped off. Uh-oh, that seems bad. Oh, good. He's dead now.
And because our spellcaster's been casting group spells, we've also done quite a number on Rock A. And I panicked and just bashed the A button. And it worked out, but I probably shouldn't have done that.
Also, I do really wish enemies had specific sleeping animations so that you could just feel the terror when their eyes opened up.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you know you're screwed.
So right now our levels are between 14 and 16. I believe Ragnar was level 15 when he left, so we're around the right area.
Alright, yeah. King gave him
Just
the
waiting
perfect
on
number of
Kira.
levels.
So this grinding session may have gone slightly too long.
Alright, just this guy left everybody leap onto him and start chewing.
I did want to establish... I've mentioned before, Dragon Quest does have a reputation of being a grind-heavy game. For the most part, I don't think that's true. A lot of the early manuals recommended that you level up much higher than you had to. But every once in a while, you do run into a situation like this where no, Kirill needs that one particular spell before we can do the next boss.
It's not the stats,
Maybe you
it's
can
utility.
get by without it. Yeah. Maybe you could get by without it. I wouldn't want to. In fact, if this wasn't strictly for an LP, I would consider going for another Kirill spell. But that one's a little overkill. You only need the stat boost, you don't need the healing.
Oh, good. Actually, these guys do have a decent amount of attack as well.
Yeah, this is where the tough enemies are. These guys aren't messing around.
The moderately tough guys, but not like the really tough guys.
Hey. Kabuff.
Ah, Kabuff, okay.
Kabuff hits
was-
everybody in the party and raises their defense.
Okay,
this is
yeah.
crucial in the upcoming boss fight.
But we already have the buff spell. Is
Fuck
that not
off.
enough? I'm reading no, that's not enough.
It super isn't enough. If you only have one buff caster, that's 4 turns getting everybody up to speed. If you have 2, that's only 2 turns, but you still had to bring in 2 buff users, which means you don't have a healer. Or... wait. You
You're
don't have a
missing
magic
something.
caster.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're missing out.
You're missing on something of your choice. Choose which foot you want to shoot. Go ahead.
this is, I would say, the lowest level at which you can take on the next boss. If this is your first time through, you might want to level up a bit more until Kirill gets his next healing spell. That plus the combination of that and the stats that you'll have will make the next boss not a problem at all. But this is the point where I'd say you're ready to actually deal with him. Anyways, let's get our line up, buddy. Sophia, Elena, Kirill, and Maya.
Alright, yeah, that makes sense. Fairly solid characters there.
Double check everyone's equipment. We already did high-speed equipment shopping earlier in the episode. And we'll make our way over to Havrelion. And next time, we'll have our second crack at the Marquis de Léon, as well as Balzac, because you might remember he didn't die either.
Yeah, that was the point of that whole trip.